my name is Vicente Omar Barraza. I'm an immigration attorney in Seattle, Washington, and I am going to share some information with you today about advanced parole for DACA. DACA is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. The Biden administration is allowing DACA recipients to apply for travel permits to leave the United States and to return to the United States. The point of the permit is to allow you to return to the United States, because obviously if you want to leave, you can, but it's coming back in that can be difficult. The information I'm going to share with you today is valid as of August 5th, 2021, and can change rapidly, so please be sure to verify any of the information that I share with you on the internet. These ideas and tips that I want to share with you are for anyone that has obtained advanced parole. You have to apply for advanced parole before you leave, but when you're traveling and before you travel, it's important that you do a number of things to make sure that you don't have any problems returning to the United States. Every situation is different, and it's very important that you obtain legal advice with respect to your particular situation, especially if you've ever been in removal proceedings or had any interactions with law enforcement in the United States or anywhere else in the world. The first tip I want to share with you is the importance of planning your trip with respect to where you land and where you clear customs in the United States. When you're returning to the United States, you want to try and arrange your travel so that you clear customs in your destination city. For example, if you live in Seattle and you're flying to Mexico City, you want to take a flight from Mexico City to Seattle with no layovers. If you have to have a layover, the best places for layovers where you clear customs other than Seattle, in my example, would be Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Salt Lake City. You want to avoid airports like Phoenix, Dallas, and Houston, because customs can be very strict in those cities. If you're traveling with a minor who is a U.S. citizen, you want to make sure that you have all the proper authorizations. You should check with your airline to make sure that you have proper documentation allowing you to travel with the minor. Essential documents. It's absolutely crucial that you have a foreign passport that is valid for at least the next 6 months. If you have less than 6 months remaining on your foreign passport, you could potentially be denied a return to the United States. When you're traveling, you want to make sure to have your current unexpired DACA card with you. If your DACA is going to expire within the next 5 months, it's important that you submit your renewal as quickly as possible before you depart the United States. When you're traveling, you also need to make sure that you have an original advanced parole approval letter. I also recommend that you make a copy of your advanced parole letter and maybe even keep a copy in your phone. I'll explain why it's important to travel with a copy of the advanced parole letter in just a minute. Homeland Security, unfortunately, is issuing advanced parole permits for very limited time periods. It's essential that you are aware of when you can depart and when you have to return. They will give you a specific date, and you have to return by that specific date. You want to make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to return, because when you're traveling in a foreign country, things can go wrong. You can miss your flight, you could get sick, a lot of different things can happen, so it's important that you do not wait until the last minute to return, because if something goes wrong, waiting until the last minute can be disastrous. COVID. With all that's going on with COVID, it's so important that you pay very careful attention to the information from the Centers for Disease Control. In this video, we will provide certain links in the comments, and you will also find a English language version and a Spanish language version of the information that I'm sharing with you now that is more complete that has the links to the websites that you need to make sure to check and to monitor when you're traveling. It's very important to remember that the United States government can change the rules on COVID at any time. They're talking about making people prove that they've been vaccinated before they can return. You also have to make sure that you get tested. And if you get sick while you're abroad, it can have substantial consequences for you. If you've had COVID in the last 90 days, you should check the CDC rules, because that might make your return actually easier and you can avoid sometimes getting tested. If you want to come back through the land border, please be aware of the fact that the land border is closed until at least September 21st, 2021, and crossing the land border is possible but can be very complicated. So please be sure that you are aware of those requirements. Banned countries. There's a list of countries that you cannot travel to, and you want to make sure to check that list. Obviously, if you're from Latin America, those countries are not on the list, but you should always be aware that there is a list of banned countries, and you want to make sure that you know which countries those are. If you want to travel to a banned country and you tell the government, they're probably not going to approve your advance parole, but it's still good to check. The purpose of advance parole is for humanitarian reasons, business reasons, or educational reasons. Advance parole is not so that you can go to another country to have a good time. So keep in mind that the purpose of the trip is to be humanitarian, for business purposes, or for educational purposes. So make sure that you keep that in mind when you're traveling. It's important to remember that your phone is a surveillance weapon. The United States government has every right to check your luggage, check your phone, check your person, and they will and they do search your luggage, your person, and your electronic devices. So keep in mind that when you're using your phone, it can be used against you. So don't take pictures of stupid things. Don't take pictures of you at the restaurant getting drunk with your family members. It's not smart, because if they want to check your phone and you got your travel permit to go see your grandfather and you're partying and having a good time with your cousins, that could be used against you. Make sure that you limit or completely avoid any social media while you are in the foreign country. You do not want to be uploading pictures on Facebook showing you having a good time. It's really important to remember that they can and they do check your social media when you return to the United States. Be thoughtful about where you're going. Remember that your phone contains a chip in it that allows the U.S. government to recreate every place that you went to in a foreign country. So if you're going places that you're not supposed to go to and the government wants to check, it can find out this information and deny you entry into the United States. Do not go anywhere near illegal drugs, criminal activity, or guns. Don't exchange any messages or text messages or social media communications with any relatives talking about coming to visit the United States or coming to work in the United States. Just don't do it. Don't exchange messages with anyone about anything that could be construed as illegal conduct. If you are using your phone to communicate with someone about hooking up, to have a good time, that could be used against you. Remember that everything you do on your phone can be monitored and downloaded by the U.S. government when you return and can be used against you. It's important to read the State Department's travel advisories. You want to avoid situations that could cause you problems. I have a really good friend. She's a great person. She never does anything illegal. She went out with some relatives in Mexico City, and while they were having dinner, there was a shooting at the restaurant. She had nothing to do with it, but a bunch of cops showed up, and it was a big problem for her. So you don't want to be going out to bars and clubs and environments where there could be violence or drama that could then get you into problems or even put you in physical danger. Imagine if you get hurt in a foreign country and you're stuck in the hospital and your travel permit expires. So be thoughtful and don't take risks that you don't need to take, because we want you to come home. Follow the rules in the country you're visiting. Many countries have very strict rules and they enforce them. When I went to the Middle East, I was using my phone and tried to go into a website, and apparently the website I wanted to visit was banned. So be careful and be thoughtful, because other countries and other parts of the world do things differently. And the way we do things in the United States is not always very popular in other countries. So please respect the rules and the customs of the country you're visiting. When you come back to the United States, be careful about what you bring back with you. The United States government imposes a lot of rules on the types of food and the types of goods that you can bring back in the United States. Assuming you can bring something back to the United States, don't be stupid and bring, for example, a bag of flour back because it's the maíz that your mom likes for the tortillas she makes. Because if you have a big bag of white powder in your luggage, guess what? You could have problems trying to get back into the United States. So don't even waste your time. Como dicen en español, mejor prevenir que lamentar. Don't bring a big bottle of honey. I read a story once about a man that brought a jar of honey from a foreign country into the United States, and he was in jail for a month because they thought that that jar of honey contained drugs, and they had to test it, and it took a month for the test results to come back, and it nearly destroyed the man's life. So don't bring things back that are going to cause the government to be suspicious. It's just not worth it. There's also rules on the value of the goods that you can bring back into the United States. If you show up with a bunch of gold jewelry, it could potentially cause the government to think that you're laundering money. So don't bring things back that can cause you problems. Obviously, when you travel and you leave, make sure you study the rules of the country you're visiting, because they have rules too about what you can bring into their countries. You don't want to travel with a bunch of money. If you have too much money, you could be accused of money laundering in the country where you're visiting or in the United States. So you need to review the website links that I provided here to review the rules about how much currency you can carry. Foreign pharmacies. A lot of people think, oh great, I can go to the pharmacy in Mexico and buy stuff that I can't get here. Well, think about that. If you're not supposed to get it here, and you are traveling with advanced parole, and you're not a U.S. citizen, you could potentially have problems if you're trying to bring back those medications into the United States. Even though they're legal in Mexico, it doesn't mean they're legal here. So if you are interested in shopping at a foreign pharmacy, review the list that the United States government maintains of the types of drugs that you can and cannot bring back into the United States. If you do bring back medicines from a foreign country, make sure that you save the receipts showing that you bought it from a legitimate pharmacy so that you're not accused of trafficking drugs. It's very important that you pay careful attention to this information from the Food and Drug Administration if you are interested in buying medicines in a foreign country. When you come home to the United States, it's very important to have a copy of your advanced parole approval. So you want to carry your original and you want to carry a copy. The reason is because they'll keep the original and you want them to stamp the copy showing that you were admitted in the United States. You also want to make sure that the customs official or the border patrol official stamp your passport confirming that you've entered the United States with parole. Please feel free to review the informational materials that I've published that are associated with this video, and travel safely. Thank you so much.